I've been stunt knitting. I tell ya, don't try this at home. You like the pineapple bandage? Kind of fun. And I actually have stabbed myself while stunt knitting. And I have overdone it and been sore, but that's not what's going on here. I was working my way through this book. I don't want to open it up because I don't want to deal with copyright issues. I figure I can show the cover though. I made a sample, so here's the, I think they call them balloon stitches. And they did them in alternating colors, so I did a little bit of color alternation. Basically, on the last of the color rows, when you get to the little part, you knit down into the first or second stitch of the same color, so that works, and then that bulges up the bits in between. Might as well do a close-up of these. Let's see, here's where the knit below was. This they called Herringbone Stitch. Here's what it looks like on the back. Yeah, okay, my knitting's messy. Not the same. You knit two together and then you drop one off and you do the same thing. And when you're purling, you wrap the opposite way, kind of like combination knitting, so that you don't have to slip, purl, and you can just purl. These were just multiple wraps to give me some space. This was their seashell thing. So the seashell, looks like I dropped a stitch, oh well, is wrapping several times as you knit or purl, I don't remember which, and then working them all together when you get to the top. The shell stitch on the back looks kind of the same, a little messier. These were, I don't remember what these were, slipped or wrapped or something. Wasn't very interesting. This is linen stitch in one color variegated and then in two colors. Here's what the back looks like. I think I tried slipping the stitches with the strand on the back at first for the first row or two. Linen stitch, two color, one color. And on the back it looks almost like a basket weave. And then here were these interesting, you knit long stitches and then you cross them and then you do the cable and they end up elongated. I think mine were too elongated. And then these couple, you take these stitches and slip them over these three instead of in front or back. You pull these through three and then you work them. Did I say that wrong? You pull the three on this side through the three on this side, or else you take these three and put them over the three on this side, and then you work them. So it's like the loops are coming through loops rather than going in front or behind. This side are the pull-throughs. So there are the pull-throughs. You don't, but the long ones leave kind of gaping holes, and that's probably because I wrapped too many times, wasn't snug enough, rather than because there's any flaw in the actual pattern. But you can see how they kind of want to fold up the way cables often do. Okay, here it involved, you knit the stitch, or there was some knit purl pattern, but basically like a knit cast on, you reach between previous stitches and pull out a loop, but then you work it and you reach around a couple of stitches instead of just one. That, I didn't think that worked out too well with the cotton yarn, but it might work out well with other things. This, I didn't want to do the whole thing. This is the star stitch, so you double wrap and then you end up with these three strands. I said three, I really mean five. You end up with 5 strands, and then you knit yarn over knit yarn over knit, so you you do 5 together, but then you get 5 stitches out of them, and 3 of them appear as knits and the yarn overs appear as purls behind, which I think is kind of pretty. I do like that. It uses a lot of yarn, but I like it. Looks sort of the same on the back, except for all the little blips of color, of the other color coming through. I don't know what I was doing here. Oh, this was the background for this thing. Of course, then I gathered it. Try to ignore the gathers. These are slipped stitches, so the directions said knit 2 rows below, but the chart showed knitting just 1 row below. So when I had a single row of each color, I would knit the red this way. I had them on circulars. I'd knit the red, work the red this way, and then work the green in the same direction, and then turn and work. I'd have to slide the work to the other, back to the other end of the needle. So it's sort of like one of the methods of brioche knitting. Also double knitting can be done that way. Anyway, so this was every other row you knit 1 below, and that brings up, if you're doing single rows, that brings up the same color that you knit 2 rows ago. And if you're not doing single rows, I think that turns out rather nice. And then so you start with a yarn over, and then you do the knit 1 below pattern, and then you have to get rid of the extra columns from the yarn over, so you knit them together, which could be used if I had ended these columns a little short. That could make a rather nice heart. Here with the purl background and the slip stitches, and between each of these is another purl stitch. So the back looks not too sloppy. And the very last one is basically just 2 color knitting with a bunch of stitches in each color, and you strand across the back, but you deliberately pull the strands. You pull the floats very tightly, and that pleats up the result. This particular one was in garter stitch, so that's how I did it. Okay, so here there are the strands across the back. Okay, anyway, so that's my sampler for this book of what I think of as stunt knit.